Yeah. You just mentioned the trainers. So my next question would be, around that itself. Like most of the ITI teachers and trainers, are they prepared to, handle this kind of a learning scenario, this kind of a situation where, like, you described it so well about how the employability skills are ideally how they should be learned. So it's mostly self-paced learning, then of course collaborative learning, and then application. So I think the teacher's role becomes very important to facilitate that application, right? You're talking about, let's say, conflict resolution, or you're talking about negotiation skills, or any of those skills. Now, the teacher maybe has to make it very contextualized, or at least promote or facilitate a certain conversation around it. So, are they prepared, or you prepare them in some way? How is the situation with the teachers?
Yeah. No, yeah, so I completely agree that without talking about teachers, a lot of these conversations will be so incomplete. So I think one of the other mandates that have now come from the government is to do large scale training of trainers on employability skills. So currently, as we speak, our teams are out in the field. Doing this mandate of so we started with training this with 3,000 government ITIs. So between government agencies which are responsible for staff capacity building to some partners like Data Strive and us, we're together, running this mandate of training 3,200 government ITI teachers and trainers on employability skills. So that's again another experience that we've crafted. I think one of the things that we believe in is that if a trainer is expected to deliver blended learning sessions,
Yeah.
when we train them, they have to experience blended learning as a learner first, right? So
Mhm.
that's again how we've designed the whole training for the trainers. And I think by July, August this year, we're going to be training at least one trainer in every ITI who's then going to be responsible for delivering employability skills training. And in some cases, if these ITIs are really large, then they would go back and train a few other trainers on employability skills as well. So yeah, I think there's been a big focus for from the government as well on how the training of trainers is also needs to be importantly done, because otherwise you launch a curriculum and if you don't work with trainers and
Yeah.
get them comfortable to use this curriculum, and how do you really run flipped classroom, blended classroom models, it's not going to work. So that's the process we're in, and hopefully through this we should be able to see a lot more stronger and better and more
Right.
relevant delivery of employability skills, because I think they also now realize that employability skills is really critical for young people to transform to kind of transition into the world of work with a lot of skills and a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And given the rapid nature of changing world of work, these skills become even more critical for young people to thrive. So yeah, there has been a good focus and support that we've been getting from the ministry to drive this mandate on educator development as well.
That's very interesting to know. And also, like this idea of at least one trainer being equipped with this entire knowledge is also, I think, a very good thing, so that
Yeah.
it gets implemented smoothly, at the school. I mean, at the ITI level. Now, coming to the students, how has it been? Like, do they really follow this self-paced method? I have also seen few students interacting couple of times, and we have also featured students and ITI principals on on our platform by facilitated through Quest Alliance. So we have seen that ITIs who have been associated with Quest Alliance have learned quite a bit. They are kind of, I would say, they have probably transformed most of their procedures, processes, and all. But when it comes to the actual student, you see that they are open to this kind of self-paced learning. Are they, are they taking it in the right way? How do you gauge this thing, at their level?
Yeah. So I think for us, one, like you said, it's very important to work, through the whole system. So
Hmm.
if we are to do something interesting in the system, we have to start with working with the ministry to the department of DGT to then we also run a lot of programs with principals on principal leadership program is what we do to change their mindsets towards 21st century skills and adopting blended learning processes and approaches, and even giving their trainers a space to experiment and innovate in learning processes. So so it starts with the ministries to the principals to then coming to the trainers, and like you said, what is the final impact on the student? So I think on the student side, one of the reflections definitely has been that students are far more excited about using technology for learning than trainers. I think because they are much younger, they're far more amenable to, taking on newer experiences. And we can sometimes even see them doing like things more and over and beyond, what we ask them to do. So I think overall, the response has been great, which has also got us going because, we have a team of like user researchers. Our teams constantly are going to the fields to get feedback from our learners to know what is working, what is not, and we constantly improve things. So that's definitely there. And I think it's definitely also an ongoing process of uptake, right? Like we know that digital access is still a bit of a problem, while mobile penetration has happened in a big way, especially post-COVID. There are still some students who get left out of this process, but then we also come up with more innovations on how there can be shared access of devices. We sometimes give away mobile phones to especially our women students, set up ES labs in certain ITIs where there are no access. But overall, from an uptake lens, I think students have responded well. And we've also put in place a lot of good measurement systems for us to know, so after the digital lessons, they also take assessments. So we kind of understand if there has been a shift in their knowledge. We also do like baseline and line assessments to understand like what is the shift in some of their skills. And then we do like FGDs and qualitative conversations to understand if there's actually internalization of any of this in their behaviors. So yeah, that process goes on. But I think overall, I feel that because of the digital content, it should make employability skills delivery far more easier and more like, sort of consistently happening across the board. Because even if some ITIs, if they don't have teachers, students still have access to something, that might not be the best possible way to just learn through digital content. But I feel like it's still like better than not having access to anything, and anyway books as well. But yeah, I think overall the response has been pretty good from our learners overall. Yeah.
So this mode of access is usually from the computer, or is it like they can also use from their mobile phone? What has been the observation? Because probably some of the students don't have such good smartphones and all, but how do they really access? Like, is it like in a classroom environment? Because this is also very good for personalized, self-paced kind of learning. No, so is there any observation on those lines as well?
Yeah, so honestly, with ITI students, we've seen the mode of usage of the digital content, especially been on the mobile phones more. There's obviously like a bit of a difference between how many women are being able to access versus men, because historically women in our country, and especially younger girls, have had less access to technology. They almost come in the last the list of priorities when it comes to distributing limited resources in a family which is coming from a poorer social economic background. Like the men and the boys will definitely get priority to those resources. Women would have less of it. But yeah, I think if you look at the data, a large part of access happens through mobiles, because I feel like generally with young people these days, they use so much of social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, not so much Twitter, perhaps Facebook, and TikTok, and all of those things, that they're so used to just doing things on the go. So while when we built this out, we built it both for access on the computer as well as access on the phone. And we very purposely build our content to be mobile friendly and bite-sized. So you'll not see any module longer than 3 to 4 minutes. So it can be consumed anytime, anywhere. And that's really the tagline with which we work, like anytime, anywhere learning by anyone, actually. So that's the intent with which this is accessible. So Bharat Skills Portal also has a mobile interface. It also has a computer interface. Similarly, it's available on our app, which is again freely downloadable for anybody from the Google Play Store. But yeah, people do access it a lot more from the phone, and you'd be surprised with how the smartphone access has shot up like in India so much that we in our heads believe that less people have access, but actually the access has gone up a lot. I feel like even for us, good 70-80% of the students have access. Even if they don't have personal devices, they do have access to devices between their family.
Yeah.
So, but with girls, we have to support them in a lot of this negotiation at home, which is also part of our family engagement programs that we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. Then I think even if they can also, get access to these devices, I'm sure they'll do better through these skills. And besides these employability skills, is there any plan for Quest to get into let's say very tech topics, which are very trendy, and right now ITIs are also, they have a mandate to offer courses, let's say in robotics or 3D printing or artificial intelligence. These are going to be the things, right? So what is your roadmap? Is there something around these things that we can expect from Quest?
Yeah, I think while we've kind of very consciously stayed away from doing a lot of technical skills, but I think for us as an organization, one big mandate definitely is to prepare young people for the future of work, right? And I think while there are a lot of trends that are emerging, I think two big trends we definitely want to address. One is how like a lot more technology integration and automation and percolation will happen in all jobs. It'll almost be like earlier we used to talk about careers and technology. Now I think it's almost like tech in every career,
Yes.
right? That's where the future is going to be, where technology is going to be part of every career. So to that end, one part is that we train our young people on digital literacy, but we've also realized that digital literacy is not going to be enough, right? We need to train them on fluency. So, we definitely have in this year want to do this in a big way, where we build our digital fluency strategy on how do we train our young people on basics of coding, basics of programming, AI, some amount of, large language models, etc. But we are also cognizant of the fact that there are some of these courses already being introduced in ITI, like Tata Tech does a lot of work. They've adopted a lot of ITIs across various states where they've really started some very good courses around like things like robotics or, many of these aspects. So I think for us, we're still trying to put our pieces together. Although as Quest, we've been running, and you are aware of this, we've been running this very big program called STEM for Girls, in the school education space, where the intent is to train young women or young girls in school between the grade 9 to 12 on STEM education and technology-based and getting them ready for technology career. So we were definitely thinking about taking parts of that program and, doing that as part of the skilling as well. So that's definitely on the cards. I think the other big trend that we do want to kind of do something about is around building green mindsets for young people in ITS, because we also realize that, again, given the climate crisis backdrop, a lot of careers will have to start becoming green, right? So just how I spoke about tech in every career, every sector will also have to think about green as an element, right? So I think for us, one of the things that we've been thinking about is that even though the career opportunities in green today are limited, but there's definitely a move towards it. So I think even if we were to start building mindsets about sustainability, green, and how are we being more aware of the environment and the career and the climate around us, and how are we looking at ourselves and our everyday practices from a green lens, and then how one can transition into a green career or bring about a green thought process in existing careers. That's the other piece that we're looking to do a lot more work around. So you'll probably hear from us a lot more in terms of how we're experimenting with green ITIs, green jobs, green entrepreneurship, exploring green spaces. So yeah, technology and green are two aspects that we're trying to work on a lot more this year.
Yes, as you said, that's the most current and relevant, and I think all of us should strive to promote all the the sustainability part of technology in a big way. So that was really nice listening to the entire future roadmap that you have, Nikita. So besides these things, is there something else you wish to share through our platform?
I think we spoke about pretty much all the key things, Madhuri. I think for me, one thing I definitely want to say that, we've experienced some really great support from the Ministry of Skills and Entrepreneurship Development and the DGT in the last few years. They've been excellent in terms of, being so supportive and trying to move towards blended learning models, focusing on employability skills and 21st century skills, focusing on educator development. I think the other big piece, like I said, making this curriculum available to a lot more young people outside of ITI ecosystem is something we're very actively working on. So I think, yeah, we urge more young people, even educators, ITIs, whoever's listening to this, to kind of focus on 21st century skills, because especially given the nature of the changing world of work, I think these are the skills that will help young people adapt to this change, and build that confidence to navigate through this change. And I think just that confidence, and some of these skills are so cross-functional across anything that you do. I think so giving it the due importance, and I think blended learning really is a great model which allows for more personalized as well as group teaching learning processes. So I think, yeah, we would urge more and more organizations to embrace it. And I think we've also built out something like a blended learning playbook, which any organization can actually use to start transitioning towards blended learning from traditional learning processes. So those could be other 3 sources we'd be happy to connect with. And just last thing is, I think the whole idea of Future Right Skills Network is to promote collective action and collaborative work to bring about a large scale systems change. So yeah, any organization with whom this mandate resonates with and would like to work in this space, we'd be more than happy to collaborate. And I think platforms like these are amazing to speak about some of this collaboration. So yeah, that's what I would want to end with.
Thank you. And I'm sure some of our audience who'd be interested would be getting back to you, I hope, watching this. And we would be very happy through NSN to connect you with Quest if required. And also look forward to collaborating with you, Nikita, on any of the future endeavors as well. So thank you so much for sharing your views and also telling us the story of the entire employability skills curriculum, which can be at present accessed from Bharat Portal. So please do.
And also on Quest app.
Yeah, okay. As on Quest app also, yeah. So these are the sources at present. So please go to the portal and check or download the app. And it's really interesting and very user friendly. And, also as we discussed, it's quite immersive and engaging for the students. Thank you so much, Nikita.
Thank you so much, Madhuri. I really enjoyed the conversations as well.
Thank you. Bye.